Oh, where's Free Market? There he is.
What's up, Bubba?
GM.
Hello?
GM. Taco Thursday.
No, it's Cinco de Mayo. That's
Cinco de Mayo.
the taco tea thing.
Could have been on a Tuesday. 2 years ago it was, I guess.
Yeah.
No tacos this morning for me, but maybe tonight. Maybe tonight. I'm in for tacos. You always eat tacos, don't you?
Well, I have a very good, authentic Mexican place, right? I can't help it. It's some of the best, like real tacos. Like, New York for a long time you could not get good Mexican food. Like it would be Tex-Mex and
Yep.
stuff. Cali is obviously where you would want to go for the best Mexican food in America. But I would say over the last 10 years, many a good taco has made its way here, and we have quite a few authentic places.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing. Really good.
One of the best restaurants in my city is a Mexican place. It is full all the time. And they make incredible food. I would say it's probably in the same vein as like yours, like authentic Mexican. But and this is going to be the restaurant person inside me that was very impressed with it. I had probably gone there about a half a dozen times, and I had never realized that their entire kitchen, everything that they do, is all gluten-free, which means absolutely nothing to me because I'll eat gluten. That's fine. But if a restaurant can pull that off, it's not a big selling point of theirs, and me as like a consumer doesn't even notice. That's pretty incredible, actually, because gluten-free stuff a lot of times is just a little bit different. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of stuff that's naturally gluten-free that you can lean into, whereas making something that isn't naturally gluten-free is where the sins against God tend to occur.
Sure.
And wow, Brian, are you in the United States? Because Cinco de Drinko, he just took a shot of that Clase Azul, and
Love it.
It is 9:36 in the morning. I'm not judging because quite a few.
Fuck it, I'll do a shot right now. Why not?
Yeah. Oh, there he goes. Cinco de Mayo. He's joining you.
BRB.
So quite a few friends are already out in the beautiful city of New York, beginning the festivities, and of course, it starts with tequila. Because true mezcal, not that fake shit. Did he forget? Oh, I didn't even know I thought he forgot where his alcohol was because Don Limon. Shit, it's Don Limon, the homie. That's your real life. Wow, there you are. Docs, fully docs. I love it. That's Don Limon, R2. Here at work.
Forgot where I put the tequila.
Tequila. Oh, good. You have tequila.
What? Yeah. I know. It's not on the back shelf there, but we have some in the kitchen too. This bottle's running a little bit low. This episode sponsored by Cazadores.
Yeah.
This is how Matt knows me.
I told Matt, your real name, and he was like, "Oh yeah," because he kept trying to remember. We're gonna be.
You guys have a connection here. I get you.
Yeah, he, one of the owners at Astor Club, the club that I go to regularly, did some work with Don Limon around Art Basel, I believe, in Miami 1 year, and we are going to do an NFT NYC party sponsored by, thrown by Astor Club. We think we're going to do it at a rooftop. We're going to get, oh man, I can't even talk about it. If you knew, we are going to mix NFTs and cannabis in a way that has not been done before, and we are super pumped. We have about a month to get this going. I think we can do it.
All right. Cheers. Bottoms up.
Cheers.
9:38 tequila shot. Why not?
Chindana salud.
Oh yeah, it just hits different. Woo. I'm chasing it with coffee. Lovely. Good combination. Oh, there we go. Happy Thursday. Cheers, Brian.
Hey, buddy.
Thank you for putting me up to that. It's going to be a fun show. Boom! Oh, we're just doing it. All right, GM, Degen, Tepi, Cinco de Mayo. It is May the 5th, and it is episode 121 of the AlphaMint Morning NFT Show. I just took a shot of tequila, so we are fired up. We are ready to go. I am your host, R2 Degen, and I'm joined with me, as always, by FMC.
Hey now.
Yeah, it's Cinco de Mayo. I guess people call it Drinko de Mayo. They celebrate, they eat some tacos, and drink some tequila, and we're gonna get that started off as well. But tacos are definitely in order at some point today. What's that?
Yesterday was Star Wars Day. May the Fourth be with you.
Oh, we didn't even say that on the show.
And then
shame on me.
Tomorrow would be the Revenge of the Sixth.
Oh, I haven't heard that one. That's good.
The Revenge of the Sixth.
I like that.
If you missed Star Wars Day, you could celebrate on the Revenge of the Sixth.
Well, we're gonna do Revenge of the Sixth tomorrow, so that's great. I appreciate that reminder. My apologies to all the Star Wars fans for missing May the 4th yesterday. Oh. But we'll be all right. We'll be all right. It's Thursday, second last day of the week, and we are here talking about some NFTs. How was your Wednesday? I know you were excited about Phantom Network, although I think as we discussed, you didn't end up actually minting it. But you watched it go down.
I have been falling asleep at weird times. I was a little pissed. I'll be honest. I was contemplating whether I was even going to mint. There was so much like, oh, we don't know if this. I had decided I was going to full send, and anybody who did paid like $22 a day. It was just another situation. Beautifully written contract. You could have sent whatever you wanted. You had no issue with that thing. It was a very nice cook right off the bat. But I think the one thing that concerned me, and it may be coming to fruition this morning, was that the majority of the supply, it wasn't just, sometimes you'll have they'll do the 7,000 person public and then it's the 3,000 allow list afterwards. This is kind of the opposite. The majority of supply comes on the market today through the allow list. So my thought was I probably can pick one up close to what I would have paid or maybe even a little cheaper today. And I guess everyone's just wondering if this is going to be the next Azuki. I know that's such a stupid and dangerous thought pattern people have in the markets because we're yet to see, the next this or the next that. But the way that it almost exactly similar, right? Like a Dutch auction.
Yep.
Everyone's super bullish, but
the Azuki wasn't fair, but I think as we have established, it didn't really matter.
Right. A lot of people were scared to mint. It was a nice little cook immediately after it sold out, but then it pulled back. I mean, you could have gotten an Azuki, I think, for 1.2 or 1.3. A few days after it had minted, and then it was.
Did Azuki mint at 1 ETH? I think it was.
Minted at 1 ETH.
Yeah.
It was a 1 ETH Dutch auction that had started. Yeah. Okay. It sold out instantly. It rallied to. I want to say 2.5. It was somewhere between 2 and 3 that it rallied to immediately after because it sold out so quick and people didn't expect it to. Then it had a lull for a day or two after that and got all the way down to maybe 1.3 at some point. It never got to mint.
It didn't. Okay, that's what I was wondering. Yeah, nope, and it was after the reveal too, right? Like it did dump quite a bit and then just.
I want to say it climbed a little bit back up before, then dumped again, but I never touched mint price, and then after that it was up only.
Incredible.
People are just wondering whether Phantom will do the same thing or has the same potential. I'm kind of thinking here whether it has literal Azuki potential. I could see a similar pattern where that type of price action occurs and then maybe it rallies to 5 or 6. The art is very good. It's obviously an anime style, but there's more to this project. I believe there is a tool suite involved. So there's services and utility here. Pretty interesting stuff. I like the art.
We're gonna break it down a little bit more because there was the whole scam contract thing, and OpenSea I think is complicit in that. But Phantom Network is not completely kind of guilt-free in it as well. You made a great point in the pre-show, so we'll touch on that. And we got some other stuff coming up for you too. Obviously, the markets are doing incredibly well. We're going to talk about Elon Musk's Twitter bid. Binance is looking to back it a little bit, and maybe even talk about Twitter a little bit more. As well. We'll see where that conversation goes. Oh, sorry, Elon. Talk about Elon a little bit more with the Bored Apes that he posted yesterday. Yugo's refunding some of the gas for the failed transactions. Good for them. There's some Gucci stuff. Oddstronauts. A Phantom Network is going to be coming up. And then, of course, Doodles is teasing something coming up this weekend as well and receiving a nice little pump for it. So we're going to be breaking down all of that. Let's get into the market first and foremost, as we always do. And we are talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the greater cryptocurrency market. We're seeing a 2% change in the total cryptocurrency market cap. $1.9 trillion headed back towards that nice round $2 trillion mark that we all know and love. Bitcoin is up 1% on the 24-hour. It is cooling off slightly, but it did breach or hit that $40,000 mark. ETH made a solid run yesterday at 3,000, being as low as like almost 2,800. And it's been sitting around 2920 at this very moment. It was higher than that. Again, things are cooling off. S&Ps had a great day yesterday, and this was, of course, on the back of the FOMC, the rate increase, and as you said, some dovish language coming out of Powell.
Yeah, and I mean, man, it was like I expected markets to be up. Yeah, so we even talked about it on the show. You know, the first move you don't believe, the second move you don't believe, and the third move is the one that busts. Well, basically happened like that yesterday. So the news comes out. The market was confused. You know, first we rallied because it was expected, right? Oh, half a point we rallied, 50 basis points we rallied. Then it was like, oh well, you know, the sellers came in right at 4,200 because 4,200 was the first resistance. We had an R1 at 4,200. Sellers come in. They actually knocked us all the way back down to 4,175. It looked like they may actually get traction. Then we bounced back up to 4,200. Then they pushed us back down again. And then Powell gets up on the podium. Man starts speaking. He says that, one, he foresees that we can have a soft-ish landing, which, again, that's good language, all right? Because soft landings after this is what we were talking about with China for years, whether China can have a soft landing from 15% growth. And mind you, 8.5% inflation also means we had 8.5% growth. So coming down from that to a manageable growth rate, you can either do it with a hard landing or a soft landing. He implied that we could probably get a soft-ish landing, which that language is a little wishy-washy for me, but the market seemed to be fine with it. And then he said he's not 100% sure that they'll have to continue to raise in such an aggressive manner. That was the key. That was when he said that. The market was just off to the right. And I had thought we could get up to 4,250, but we blew past it and went up to 4,300 on the S&Ps. Now, we're down today, but honestly, the way we rallied yesterday, unless we closed under 44.20 today, say, and we're, about 20 points away from there. It's certainly a nice little pullback this morning, but it was expected because I wouldn't have thought we got into 4,300 until Friday, and then I would have expected we come in Monday or Tuesday down because we'd have had to digest the move. It's all happening within like 24 hours. We got up to 4,300 yesterday. We're having our move digestion now. I could see Friday being a rip your balls off rally. Like, because we're getting the pullback we'll have to see. I got to see how we close today. Nothing's guaranteed, but it has that type of action where it's setting up for that type of Friday. So let's see how it plays out. Again, we had priced in the worst. We got not the worst. So we are rallying now. I do expect us to have a very interesting summer. We have had about as bearish a first half of the year as we could have. People predicting crash, economic despair, recession, all this stuff. As those fears start to abate and we go into the summer, which is actually notoriously a bearish period for the market, I think seasonality is going to be flipped on its head. which is rare for me to say, but you always have to take in all the variables that we're seeing. And I thought this year would be extremely violent, but range bound, where we wouldn't really break out to new highs and we wouldn't crash to a place that set markets on a bearish trajectory. And we've basically kept within a range as violent as it's been. And I expect us to get all the way back up to maybe the old highs of 48, 4,900 on the S&Ps. And then come fall, I expect us to crash all the way back down to where we are now, maybe even a little lower, 3,900. And I think that will be a generational buy opportunity, because from there, I expect the next 6 years to be quite insane. I believe that we are in the year 1993, okay, 1992. And the potential of the new internet is about to be realized, and it's going to cause quite the bull run in all these assets. And then in 2029, just as in 1929, a reckoning will occur.
Yeah, and I'm just going to throw this out there because I've known free market a lot longer than we've been doing the shows, and this is exactly what he's been preaching the whole time. And in terms of somebody that knows like the macro situation and long term trends, this guy is right a lot of the time. If I'm just saying that, obviously not financial advice or whatever, but we've been doing this show for 6-7 months now, and I've watched him just like really nail like the big long-term ideas that are going on here, right down to so far. As he said, you can go back to this show at on January 1st and looking at our kind of predictions of 2022, basically saying the exact same thing. It's going to be a volatile year, but range bound. And if you look at the year to date, I mean, we are just like bouncing in between this range right now. Maybe it'll continue. But so far, everything that I've seen is seemed to come to fruition, honestly.
Yeah, sir. Let's see. I want to see how we close today. Like I said, I think we could be setting up for either a very bullish Friday or a muted Friday, depending on how we close. I would if we could get back above 2465, because right now there are shorts who are going to try to press. Like, this is their last shot. They better press here, and they could do it. I mean, again, you just have to adjust to reality as it unfolds, but this is their last chance to really press right now. If they can't get any traction here and we close above, say, 4265, I could see them really ripping it above 4350 tomorrow in one of those classic Friday bottom left to top right rallies. Boy, I haven't seen one of those in a minute. That'd be nice.
Well, we will watch and see what happens today, tomorrow, and then of course through the weekend. And pretty much every other day that we do this. Let's talk about Elon. Let's talk about Twitter. We'll talk about Binance, all in the same brushstroke. Binance backs Elon Musk's Twitter acquisition bid with $500 million. A recent SEC filing reveals that Binance is backing Elon Musk's Twitter takeover bid along with Sequoia, Fidelity, Qatar, and Larry Ellison. As you kind of explained to me in the pre-show, this is not uncommon. Obviously going to do the rounds and of all of their buddies and see who wants to chip in on the bid. Binance doing this. I mean, Binance is sometimes a love-hate with people. I think most people are on the side of hate now, feeling like it's become the big evil corporation of crypto. But they're putting in a bid for about 1%. Do you see this as a problem? Do you think that they have even any influence in it at all, and this is just an investment to them? Or do you think that they're looking for a more favorable shift into cryptocurrency and maybe their own narrative?
No, I mean, most of these very, very large firms have their own capital arms. I mean, we know Coinbase has Coinbase Ventures, and all of these guys have venture capitalist arms that they use to invest in. I don't think this is anything more than like Elon Musk probably did a 3-week roadshow courting investors, and you got to get $500 million from a lot of people to raise $43 billion. So this is just one of the, and I don't have a ton of experience with Binance. It's love-hate for me. I hate them for the same reasons everybody hates them, but man, I'm jealous of the instruments people have access to on that platform, because We don't have a lot of that here in New York specifically. I know many states do have access to it. I think they're often limited in the type of instruments they have access to versus like the full app you get overseas, so to say. But I don't think there's any major implications re the Twitter deal. I think this was just financing. You know, they're trying to make a return.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there, but it is interesting watching it go down. Of course, of the names that I mentioned, Sequoia putting in 800 million, Andreessen Horowitz 400, Qatar Holding 37, 375 million, Fidelity,
Only
DFJ.
375. Huh. You know,
They came in short, but you know, at the
because you know they're huge investors in Twitter.
Mhm.
They were one of the larger investors in Twitter. I guarantee Elon Musk chatted with them. I mean, he needed, you know, he probably needed their okay.
Well,
Right.
if I recall correctly, current shareholders are invited to maintain their stake in it, even if it once it goes private,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they clearly, if they already have a holding in it, then I'm assuming
No,
they're just adding on to their stake, right?
it shows a good bit of confidence for the new management. You know, you want to that an investor or whatever. Here's my thought too. I think that none of these entities are looking for influence within the operation. You know, Elon Musk is Elon Musk. He ain't listening. If you give him your money, you should probably expect he's not listening to you. He's going to do what Elon Musk does, but you're okay with it because you're making a bet on Elon Musk. I think that's what these people did. They're just like, you know what? This is a bet on Elon. I don't think they're going to have any influence in what he does at Twitter. This is just them betting on, you know, the richest guy in the world who knows what he's doing.
Yes. Well, there's a lot of interesting speculation about what's going on with Twitter. It's not really NFT or crypto based, so we'll leave it off to the sidelines. But I've heard the words trust thrown out there as well. It'll be fascinating to watch it. Going back to Elon for a second, and his kind of Twitter antics yesterday, we talked about him posting all of the bored apes on in the collage format as his profile picture, and of course tweeting out that it seems kind of fungible. Of course, that started the rumor and some people digging, and it seems to be that there's some credible evidence that that lot may have actually have been purchased by Elon. I can't say that as a certainty, but one, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, $24 million that it sold for is like a literal drop in the bucket for Elon. It was an anonymous buyer. There are some other reports saying that they're not his and that some of the ones in that picture are owned by other people. It's been fun to watch the Twitter kind of detectives and rumor mill kind of work. Do you have any more insight to that? Would you be surprised at it? And what do you think it would mean if Elon actually came out and said, "Oh yeah, by the way, they are mine"?
I was told by somebody that I trust as much as you could trust a source that these are his.
He has since changed the picture, by the way.
He
But
did change the picture. It was weird because I had been told by someone, no, they're his apes. And then like a few minutes later, I start seeing like corroborating evidence on Twitter that it possibly is. Obviously, we don't know. I don't know. You know, Elon obviously could care three shits about making money on NFTs or what. This is all a fun game for him. So, how would he leverage the PR?
those apes could 10x and it wouldn't fucking matter to him.
No. Seriously, he doesn't care about the financial anything about these apes. It's, he certainly cares about PR. I think he's a master at that type of thing about, knowing how to be in the media to get attention. And I think there was debate yesterday, like if Elon had bought that lot, don't you think he would have like gone on to, he wouldn't have been quiet about it, right? Because Elon's not quiet about anything. He likes to make noise. But, then I wonder, I'm like, well, maybe he's playing a long game. Maybe he has different play. He buys these and then he buys Twitter. Like, is he doing something behind? I don't know. So I certainly trust the person who told me this, but where did he get the information from, right? I guess that's what you always think. Amazing implications if it's true, right? Like, I think people are torn in the sense that Elon was a big Doge proponent and he had always hinted he loved Doge. When he went on SNL and did a whole bit about it, Doge topped out, crashed, and hasn't been the same since. Is that what's going to happen to Bored Apes if Elon comes out and says these are his apes? Is it going to be a blow off top, or is it going to be a Visa Punks moment where Visa bought a punk and then all of a sudden everybody starts buying NFT? It's so weird to me. Like he's arguably the most famous person in the world. Definitely, it'd be hard to say he's not at this point. He's probably talked about in the media as much as any president or head of state around the world.
Probably more.
But he's not universally loved. Okay. I think people in tech and people in Web3 and honestly, even people in tech and Web3 are very torn about how much they like this guy. So he's very divisive. And I wonder if him wearing an ape or proclaiming he bought apes would be the same effect to say somebody like Barack Obama or a LeBron James, like a very famous, almost universally loved person, right? Because think about it. Who could Elon Musk influence? The people who like Elon Musk are probably already in Web3. Like they're probably already tech focused, all that type of stuff. Whereas the people who hate the normies are probably going to look at something Elon Musk does and go, ew, fucking Elon Musk. Of course Elon Musk would do something like that. So is he as good a spokesperson for NFTs as people think? Now, don't get me wrong. If he announced it, we would see an immediate absolute pump in everything Bored Ape related, and it would probably flow down to other collections for a short period of time. I guess the only question is, does it start a major leg up, or is it some sort of blow off top that he causes by releasing the news?
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, if you want to take his his previous track record, I mean, he really willed Tesla to become what it has in terms of its market cap and creating a kind of a cult status around it and building a car company as a tech company and as a growth stock and whatnot, right? Because if you drive around, it's definitely frequently you see a lot of Teslas right now. But do you think that Tesla, the company, is actually as valuable as every other single car company combined if you're looking at simple metrics like just cars sold or all that stuff? The answer is probably not. But you're betting on Elon the person, you're betting on Tesla the future of the company, and I think that stuff does carry over. I mean, if SpaceX were to ever go public, it would be right up there, I think, too. The implications and the impact that he's had on Doge has been absolutely profound. And I do think that it would have the same thing, or it would have the same effect on Bored Apes and NFTs. I think that he's got enough following that's beloved to him that I would love to see even 10% of his loyal followers jump into NFTs and participate in it that way, because I think it would have an incredible effects too. But you are right. There's a lot of haters that will say anything that Elon does, I am now against it, including the Twitter purchase, right? Despite the fact that, $44 billion is a shocking amount of money, not a lot to Elon. He has this idea of what free speech is and what it's supposed to be. And there's a lot of people pushing back on it, saying it's going to ruin democracy and all of that stuff. And it is just one of the effects of such a polarizing individual. My heart of hearts is telling me that it would have a crazy effect on NFTs, though.
Yeah, I guess I do think it would be a net it would force every news organization in the world to talk about Bored Apes for a day or two.
Well, yeah, and as you said, attention tokens, right?
Yeah, exactly. So at the very least, you're gonna have quite the news cycle.
Well, and let's not forget what happened with Bitcoin when Tesla bought, right?
Right. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, and hey, shout out to Paul Tudor Jones. I truly believe the last crypto bull run, where crypto went from like 8,000 to 45,000. I think that was all Paul Tudor Jones. Shout out to the homie, mentor.
But PTJ. Okay, let's move on from Elon though. I'm sure that it will not be the last time we talk about him. Yuga Labs is refunding gas for failed transactions. Obviously some dissenting opinions on this. It was only for failed transactions, so they've given out about 90 ETH or $265,000 in refunds. Kind of a drop in the bucket for them, but at least they are making good on the promise that they said. But again, of course, people still outraged about the gas and the lack of contract optimization, saying they could have done better, and the onus is on them to be good leaders of the NFT community. But regardless, again, attention tokens, attention. Bored Apes is keeping it on them and making people talk about it. I mean, these are numbers that make headlines, whether they're good or bad. Some people will say no public or any publicity is good publicity, whether it's good or bad. But
I
it
don't
continues
care
to
what you
be.
write about me. Just spell my name right.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly my point. So we're here. We're still talking about it. But I mean, the good news is the other side is slightly starting to rally back, heading towards 4 ETH again. The estimates are that the average transaction was about 2.5 ETH. In gas, 2.5 or 2 ETH, sorry, 2.5 ETH for the purchase price, and then about 2 ETH for gas. So people are starting to get back above water, I think, and we'll be watching that again too. But at least you guys making good on their promises. Not too much depth in that conversation. A big topic yesterday was Gucci actually accepting Bitcoin in some stores. Gucci's latest luxury brand to begin accepting crypto payments. Iconic fashion brand Gucci will begin accepting cryptocurrency payments in some of its U.S. locations later this month. So it's actually soon, with plans to roll the program out to other North American stores this summer. Back when Gucci did their Grail drop, the mashup with 10KTF, we talked about that a little bit. I thought it was a great drop. It benefited me well, obviously, but it is still doing well too. And so is the Super Plastic. The Gucci Grail is sitting at 1.2 ETH. People who minted the Apes definitely seeing a higher one, but it's been doing a-okay. Gucci continues to be a good participant in NFTs and a good participant in crypto, and I think this is very exciting too. I think that there's a lot of people sitting on crypto wealth that will definitely take them up on this offer.
Yeah, and there's a reason I think fashion is the first industry to move into NFTs. I mean, it seems very obvious, right? NFTs are fashion, like especially high-end luxury fashion. They tend to make things where it's like, yeah, we know this is expensive. Fuck you. Like that's NFTs in a nutshell, right?
Yeah,
Like,
true.
it is literally, it's such a perfect marriage, and I will support the shit out of Gucci for being, the first ones to do this. I know it says Bitcoin, which is unfortunate. I'm sure they will be accepting ETH very soon, but good on you, Gucci.
Well, as long as you're not shopping in the Gucci store during a Yuga Labs mint, you're gonna pay 2 ETH in gas just to transact.
Isn't that interesting? That is a very interesting thing. Like, you'd better be paying attention to what Gwei is. You think the cashier?
Yeah, they have a little gas tracker.
1,000 right now, and it would cost you 4 times what you're paying for those shoes. Would you like to wait maybe a few minutes?
Sir, please just step aside and sit over there and enjoy the complimentary champagne.
Eating areas. You have to wait over there.
Okay, we're fucking done here. Show's over. I'm done with you. No, it is interesting though, and you know what? I think that this is where a lot of people are looking forward to the ETH 2.0 shift. Obviously, the throughput is a lot higher than it will be right now, and then the transaction costs will be substantially lower. I mean, to a certain extent, if you're buying something from Gucci, do you really care? I don't know. Probably though. It's one of the big kind of bottlenecks for, I think, adopting ETH on a widespread level. But we're getting there. We are getting there for sure, and it looks like it could be soon. What's that?
Waiting room.
The waiting room. Yeah, I mean, trademark that. Throw it out there, man, because I think you killed it with that one. LM, I think that is. I am say Gucci will probably build their own contract for purchases, which will be better than Yuga's. Yeah, I don't doubt that they will have a blockchain developers.
Gucci's not trying to pitch their own L1 to us.
Also true. Yeah. They're not intentionally trying to fleece people for gas there. And then you also asked, what do we think about the PXN floor? We will be getting to that very shortly. Also, just on the note of 10 KTF, and I mentioned the Gucci Grail, the 10 KTF project has been absolutely killing it lately too. I'm going to check in and see what was happening with it. Wow, 1.6 ETH floor. Back when we were talking about the Gucci Grail drop, that floor was at about 0.2. And even despite all of that going down, it has continued to rise as that project has continued to deliver pretty considerable value to the holders, and people are very excited about it. So again, I'm going to say it, keep an eye out for this project. I don't know if 1.6 is a good entry point at this point, but it continues to be on an up only trajectory, at least in the short term. Let's talk about Oddstronauts from our friend Dots and Augmented Labs. This minted a couple days ago. The mint went smoothly, and the reveal has happened and took place yesterday. And the general reaction was very good. I think that these are great looking. They're all animated, nice clean artwork. Some of them, we're not always big fans of backgrounds in there, but I think what they did is working here, and I think it looks fantastic. Did you manage to get any Oddstronauts? Are you looking at them with any kind of bullishness for the future? What's your take on them? I mean, I know that we have both been very busy, and trying to keep our hands on the pulse of NFTs can sometimes be a trick, but this was a great drop.
Yeah, I think this is some of the better art and animation I've seen recently. Absolutely in love with them here. And there is utility, right? We got boba utility coming up for Oddstronauts, if I'm not mistaken. And that is very interesting to me. And I don't trust anybody more than Dots and Augmented Labs to shepherd this through. Love this here. I think boba there is such a bull market in boba. I see a new boba shop opened in
Is that right?
like every day.
Interesting.
I am amazed at the bull market like, I bet you whoever is making, the accoutrement that goes into those things is absolutely killing it right now. And this floor price is absurdly low, I think, for what's being built here. Love the Oddstronauts. Love them.
So you mentioned boba places opening up all of the time. Here in my city, it's all cannabis shops. I mean, it is like every retail spot that has an opening. It doesn't matter how close in proximity it is to another one.
Yeah.
I could walk down the street, and it's probably about every 200 feet there's a different one. I've seen two of the same brand within a 500 feet of each other. It's fucking crazy.
It could be a little corny, but it makes me cry in New York, because I honestly did not know if I would see it. And it is like, I would never go into one because it's going to be bad weed for a high price. Always go to your plug. Trust me, your plug's going to be cheaper and better. But to see these cannabis, and just like R2 said, there is literally at least one opening on every block.
Every block, yeah.
Now in New York. And guess what? They're all going to have lines out the door, okay? Because traditionally, New York, even before legalization, had the highest cannabis use per capita in the world. The world. We're talking, that means...
Is that right? Oh, that's crazy.
California...
I would have thought that would have belonged to like Vancouver or something.
Yeah, all these places that have traditionally been known as these cannabis. Well, New York was more than that, and there are 10 million people here. There are potentially more cannabis customers in New York City than anywhere else in the world. Pretty incredible. Cannot wait to see what NFT projects spring up around that are actually good. Because I know that there's been a few, but we're waiting.
Yeah, it kind of whiffs. It's almost just doing it for the sake of doing it. But I'm sure, you'll find something out there pretty good. Bringing it back to Oddstronauts real quick before we wrap that up. I know a bunch of people are anxious for us to talk about the Phantom Network, but the only thing that I will say about this was that the high end sales, aren't. Sometimes we look at that and they're like, the highest is 3.5 ETH, 2 ETH, 2 ETH. 1.6. The high sales, the high watermarks aren't incredibly high on this project compared to some of them. Sometimes we see those multiples of 50, 100x for the top tier ones. I don't think that is a black mark against the project by any means, but just something to note. I will say though, they do look fantastic. So definitely a project to keep an eye out. And as Free Market said, I mean, this is a pretty palatable entry point. The mint price, of course, was 0.1. So if you are a fan of dots, if you're a fan of augmented labs, if you are a fan of this artwork, it could be a great entry point. Of course, PFPs are they're getting their the shit kicked out of them
I
for
look,
the time
nothing,
being. But
nothing is doing well on the secondary after it mints, right? Like I'm looking across the board, and you have to have an unbelievable amount of hype and attention to do well on the secondary. It's just the market that we're in right
which
now.
even the other side did, and I can't even say that they are like quote unquote doing well unless you pull Dakota.
Yeah, no. So I honestly don't think it's a factor of market conditions as much as it is people getting smarter. Okay, I actually think that these cycles are becoming shorter just because people have learned by now. People have gotten burned enough. People have bought into the bullshit enough that people are very, people have now gotten into two camps. You either are decidedly bullish and long term on a project, or you're a flipper. And no one waffles anymore. I think flippers are very determined and know what they're going to do. They really think that NFTs go down and stay there. 99% of NFT projects are going to zero. This type of pervasive propaganda has gotten into people's heads. And I think that you're going to see this more as the new norm. But what I also think is the new angle, the new edge, the new meta that's going to be successful is being able to identify which projects can have long-term potential on the secondary. Okay, we were in a mint meta for 8 months. Get in on that mint. Get in on that mint. Got to get the whitelist. Get in on that mint. How much is that working now? How often is that returning you a profit now unless you sell immediately? How often? Not very often now. But the ability to go and identify which projects have a good team, which actually have long-term potential. You're literally getting amazing discounts on everything the moment it hits the secondary. Your ability to identify those is going to be your entire edge going forward. It is a stock picker's market.
Yeah, for sure. You have to do that diligence. Like I've said so many times, if you're feeling like things are slow and you're looking for something to do, go poke around in those discords, see what teams are still active, see what communities are still active, still interacting, engaging with each other, and not just in that like you go into a Discord and it's like, when's something going to happen? And, there's just all of that. But like, see where communities are actually forming and continuing, even in the wake of a lower volume environment. And you'll start to get a feel for, where some good pickups can be. And that's really important because, we watched the clip with Gary Vee yesterday talking about how, 95, 97, 99% of projects right now are going to fail. And keep in mind, there are dozens and dozens of projects minting every single day, a lot of which you never hear about, I never hear about, right? That definitely falls into that number as well. But decide what your thesis is, decide what you believe is quality, what your long-term outlook is, and start to build a portfolio in that too. Obviously it ties up liquid for a longer period of time, but you can manage short and long-term trading simultaneously. It does take a little bit of finesse, but you just have to know when to take those long-term trades and take some profit from them as well. But again, it all goes back to just go poke around and see what's happening. And some of these projects that are 3 months old, 6 months old, I always love going back to the Forgotten Runes wizard cult, because that was a project that was sitting there, and it was ripe for the picking for a long time. It was below 0.1 for a long time. It was below 0.2 for months and months and months, and slowly but surely we're sitting at a 3 ETH floor there. And that's less than a year. Like, it's hard to even consider that a long-term investment in the grand scheme of things. But for somebody that just, back in August of last year kind of went into Forgotten Runes Wizard Cult, checked around in the Discord and whatnot and said, oh, there's actually something still here. I'm going to just start picking some of these up. Maybe you buy one a week, maybe you buy one a month. But in, the grand scheme of things, a year later, you're looking at a 15x on that investment, maybe over multiple NFTs. And,
buy one Forgotten Runes a week. Why don't you send Daddy some ETH?
No, I'm talking about when it was like 0.1, 0.2, right? You know what I'm saying.
It was-
Anyways, that was a bit of a, what's that?
I said it was 0.1, 0.2. I don't even remember that.
For a long time, yeah. I mean, that's it. Like if you zoom out on this this chart, if you go back to July, look, average price, yeah, 0.1, 0.1. It was it took a long time. It did, it was in the fall around 0.4 for a while, but even then, that would have been a great entrance point. Obviously, hindsight is 2020, but they've just continued to grow. The volume has increased throughout all of that, and it's a good looking project. So, all right, let's move on. We've got Phantom Network, and then we'll finish off with Doodles. Doodles, obviously, there's not a lot of meat on that bone, but there is at least merit warrants a discussion here. Thank you, LM. Phantom Network. Yes, of course, we talked about the Dutch auction. It went live at 11 p.m. Eastern yesterday, 8 p.m. Pacific. It wasn't without its problems, although it's not entirely on Phantom Network. There was a fake OpenSea link that definitely got some traction, started selling them, and collected about 200 ETH. It looks like they've actually been tracked down, and people know who this is too. So we're going to talk about that. But the Phantom Network did mint out at the starting point of 2 ETH. I believe it did so pretty quickly. However, it had an incredibly optimized gas contract, seemed to go very well for people. As Free Market mentioned earlier in the show, I think it was, at most 0.1 in gas for people. A lot of people getting a lot less than that. So we're going to operate under, this was a 2.1 ETH mint price. Right now, not doing super hot on the secondary, although there is a ton of volume and it is flip-flopping. Since we've gone live, it has gone from 2.2 to 1.9. I'm going to refresh again, see what happens, back up to 2.2. So it is fluctuating a lot, but for all intents and purposes, this is about mint price. It did have a pretty good spike directly after the mint. It got up as high as 3.5, a lot of sell pressure at that point. And then, of course, the 10,000 ETH in volume is nothing to shake a stick at. I think the biggest point of contention here is the fact that the allow list mint is going live in about 12 hours. They are minting for 0.35, so a substantial discount above not only the floor price, but the actual mint price itself. And of course, more than 50%, in fact, 60% of the supply will be hitting the market. These people, of course, minting at about 1/8 of the mint price, or of the current price right now. And in a lot of ways, they're kind of free rolling. So the pressure here is going to be big. I think if you're looking at something like this on the secondary, I would say stay up till the allow list starts to mint and see what the action is there, because my gut is telling me that it is going to get lower, at least in the short term. That's not FUD or anything like that. I think that we're probably on the same page with that. You likened it to Azuki. Of course, there are some different elements in the size of the supply that's going to the allow list.
Yeah, I mean, this is really interesting because the action feels so similar to Azuki, and it's very, very hyped anime art. Everything feels so similar here, including the price action. I guess what was a little different, and the reason people were debating and hesitating yesterday was that 60% of the supply is being minted today by the allow list for a very, very cheap price. And they're minting it at 0.35. Even 1.5 is quite a nice cook from that level. And if everybody who wanted to buy bought yesterday, you could see some undercutting happen. That actually happened with Azuki too. Mm-hmm. So if this follows that same pattern, are these going to also follow that Azuki pattern of resuming an up only once that supply is worked off? here's what's interesting to me. There's utility and services here. So like this art, I mean, it's not my thing. It looks good. And I guess people will like it.
Every time I see it, it is growing on me. I'm not a big anime fan. There's something about this, maybe almost coming from like a video game sense that I'm enjoying. I don't know. Anyways, keep going. Sorry.
I can't tell if it's better than Azuki or worse than I really don't know.
I would say from a traditional pure art form, like I probably give the edge to Azuki personally, but again, it's super subjective. But yeah,
right. So I think really the play here is, what is this? You know, this is more than the PFP. So it could, you know, I could certainly see it following a similar pattern. And if it fell to 2 or below, I'd seriously consider picking one up here off the secondary, especially because I missed the mint last night.
Yeah, they have it seems like a pretty well managed roadmap. There's obviously some stuff looking forward. We know about the PXN token and reward distribution. They've hinted at white boxes. They haven't really said what the next step is, and I think that that's kind of key, and continuing to keep attention on them and whatnot. I don't know when they're going to announce that, but it'll be a good next step for them. But I think if you want to kind of separate it from Azuki, is Azuki was kind of just like, everyone knew it was a really clean brand, like it looked good. They really knew what they were doing stylistically, and where they were going in terms of being like a premium metaverse brand, kind of like their own Supreme or whatever. This one has more utility behind it, and I think that there's a lot of people that are looking forward to being part of that community. I think that they're probably getting some drip down effect from people missing out on Moonbirds too, and maybe almost looking to be a part of another lower entry point, but premium NFT community as well. So I think that's part of the hype and part of the excitement of what's going on here. Other than that, I mean, everything that they put out, the website looks great. Their marketing has been really good. The art looks very clean. This is a project and a team that seems to be executing on a very high level. So there's obviously a lot to be excited about in terms of that too. But we're going to watch this grow. We're going to watch where it goes. And, I think there's going to be a lot to dissect. Pardon me, tomorrow morning, once we see that extra 6,000 supply hit the market. I couldn't even tell you what the price action is going to be, because there's that part of me that knows there's a large supply that is likely going to, in some way, shape, or form, get dumped on it. But all of those traders that are holding the ETH and want to purchase one of these, multiple of these, do some big sweeps or whatever, they're also aware of that fact, right? So there is going to be a pretty big battle between the two. I would not be surprised to wake up and see this at a 1.5 ETH floor. I would not be surprised to wake up and see it at a 4 ETH floor. But if you're looking at it, you're going to want to be there in real time, because there's going to be some decisions to make. But again, don't let FOMO get the best of you. Oh, sorry. I missed a bunch of the conversation. Let's just get caught up with the chat here. You're right. Azuki is much cleaner art. I think it is cleaner. It's like very, very clean, sharp lines. Azuki has an incredible color palette. Like, they really did nail that too. But that is not a knock on the Phantom Network, sorry. And LM saying, as a nano holder, I feel like they really need to strike a balance between where they place their love, because PXN is making nano feel like the abandoned stepchild. Was at 5.5 ETH 3 weeks ago, now at 3 ETH. Yeah. I mean, this is a big topic on the show all the time, and free market, we'll say it ad nauseum. It's about attention tokens, and sometimes the new kid on the block comes in and steals a lot of attention. And of course, people's attention spans in this market are very fleeting as well. So, I mean, it can be difficult to continue to keep eyes on your project. I think that's one of the things that Yuga has done incredibly well since their inception, and are reaping the rewards from it.
LM makes a good point here. I first heard about Phantom from the homie Robert, who is a NanoPass holder. And he was actually really bullish on NanoPass because of the Phantom drop. And he bought NanoPasses specifically to get on the allow list for the Phantom drop. And LM is basically saying that he feels like they really need to strike a balance between where they place their love, because Phantom is making Nano feel like the abandoned stepchild right now. I mean, I think, I think they're doing different things, it seems. Like, what can NanoPass do right now to move forward? I feel like all Metaland is kind of waiting for the tech to catch up and for the masses to catch up. And while I think it's a good investment as you're forward looking into what is going to be, I wouldn't be too put off by them focusing, at least short term, on Phantom Network. It seems that they got a good launch off. It seems that people are pretty bullish on their properties, and I just think that it's going to be okay for NanoPass and for Phantom.
JRP doing the Evereye shout out too. I haven't checked back in on that project for a while, but 0.6 ETH floor actually holding up pretty well there. Mm-hmm. The last kind of thing to touch on about Phantom Network was, of course, the roughly 200 ETH scam that went down at Serpent on Twitter, basically saying, hey, at payment bypass 21, Michelangelo, DeSanta.eth, is there a particular reason why your wallet is directly connected with the wallet that scammed 200 ETH from a fake PXN collection? So let's break that down. As you kind of told me in the pre-show, there was an OpenSea collection that actually, we see this quite often, and a lot of times it's nothing, right? You see there's no volume traded. Some people try and do some funny stuff. This one actually caught a little bit of traction and managed to sell 200 ETH worth of NFTs to the unsuspecting buyers. But as it also turns out that there might have been some connections to somebody who's actually well-known, especially in the sneaker trading industry. This guy Serpent did a little bit of digging, threw it out there, and all of a sudden DMs started coming out of the woodwork saying, I know this guy, I've interacted with him before, I actually have his address. He was deactivating socials, trying to run from it, and not a very good scam to run when you attach it to your personal identity that people know and can identify you with. So we'll be seeing what happens with this. Obviously, people are highly encouraging him to just give back the money. I actually kind of suspect that might happen. I don't know. What are you thinking?
Well, yeah, a mutable blockchain, right? A mutable ledger. Like this baffles me. Like, if you are smart enough to even contemplate this scheme, you're really going to communicate with that wallet, with your doxed wallet. Like, it's always amazing to me. I mean, there are a lot of edges that you could take in this market that seem to be morally questionable. We talk about making offers in DAI versus...
He put it to his .eth address.
From his fucking DAI. I mean, criminals will never cease to amaze me. But I don't know whether, like, we think about the edge in something like offering DAI instead of ETH, or you think about the edge in creating a bot that picks up people's fat fingers and stuff like that. There are certain edges you could question. This is outright scumbag, thievery, scheming behavior, and these people should be prosecuted to the full extent of whatever law they are within reach of. I hope this person returns the money. It's fucking sick. I mean, this is the type of stuff that falls also on OpenSea and Phantom Network.
Let's talk about that, because you made a great point too.
I last night was trying to find Phantom Network on OpenSea just by searching in the bar, and no matter what I put in, PXM, Phantom, nothing, all I would get are scam collections. That's all that I could get. And right now, you have to think as a project, okay, what is the most obvious thing that's going to be searched? And I should make the name of my project that, because there will be less chance somebody could get scammed. And OpenSea, which we've been screaming about for the better part of a year, they really need to fix their search option. There has to be a way to know number of hits or number of search. Like, just aggregate to the top what people are going to most. I mean, there was 3,000 ETH in volume on the real collection and 200 on this other. It should have been very easy for the algorithm to know which one to display at top if somebody was searching for that. I cannot believe that they are still missing this. They're not.
Well,
it's crazy.
There's a couple components there, and we, even with Star Wolves, had a couple of issues with trying to get the proper name. Obviously, we always used the Z in the Star Wolves kind of thing, and we weren't able to get that on one of the collections that we have. It's very difficult to get it through to OpenSea and make them make the adjustments. Though, it's not super hard to get them to take scam collections down. If you find one, you get a bunch of people to report it properly. They're relatively reactive on that, but actually freeing up that name on OpenSea is a bit more of a trick with them. So that's tough. I think that they really need to reconsider how they're handling that component of their product, OpenSea, that is. Where Phantom Network is kind of at fault here is that they went in a completely different direction for their name, right? PXN Ghost of it. I would never ever, reading all of that stuff, thought to search for Ghost Division in the search bar in the title. The URL at the top is /PXN Ghost
and I
Division.
tried PXN.
I think it was right.
I tried that. It didn't come up. I tried PXN a few, PXN Phantom, just PXN. None of it came up. And it was, the scam collection, I saw 3 different ways. It was like the scam guy figured out what people would be searching for and made his fucking collection. You don't think about that as a project? What are people going to be searching for?
Yeah, and if I recall correctly, like for you to be able to snag the proper kind of domain name and title for it, you actually have to have an NFT that's live to connect it to. So, it would be good for projects to maybe even just mint one so that they could get it out there and then post the official link on their Twitter and on their Discord, of course, and let people know ahead of time. So, all things aside, I mean, they've executed at an incredibly high level. One slight misstep, 200 ETH down the drain. We'll watch and see if OpenSea makes that right, if Phantom Network makes that right, or if just maybe there's enough pressure on this hacker who has been doxxed to just send it back. That would be a nice turn of events. But I imagine somebody will be making this right. And
he's a Russian living in Switzerland who likes to buy sneakers, stocks, and crypto. That's what his
there you go.
Is.
So. Yeah, fuck that guy, man. All right, last but not least on the docket, we have, of course, the tweet that Doodles sent out. Nice little video there of a Doodle looking at his phone and seeing a tweet from the Doodles account and just saying Friday. Not totally sure exactly what this meant. The last thing that Doodles did in a big way was the Space Doodles, which wasn't a companion drop or anything like that. It was like the Little Lemon Friends. You were able to kind of convert it into a Space Doodle, see your doodle flying around and whatnot, and then you could convert it back and forth. It was cool. I think they looked great. I think at the time, it was definitely the right play for them to do. I don't think that they were in that echelon of needing a companion drop. The floor price, even though it was at 7, 8, 9, 10 ETH, I think still had a little bit of work to do, and a little bit more time put between the mint is maybe what the doctor ordered. Doodles now tweeting out that something is going down tomorrow, Friday, May 6th. Haven't really hinted at what, but it is a speculation that there will be some form of airdrop involved. I was always speculating that the Space Doodles was some part of a larger game. A lot of the wording in the white paper for the Space Doodles was implying that there was more to come and that there were some advancements you could do and some growth in it and whatnot. But Doodles is going on a little bit of a run. If it hasn't been already, it was just at about 25 ETH floor. Give that another refresh. It's the magic touch here, 23.7 ETH, and it has been on an up and to the right trajectory, and this announcement helping. I will say, at the end of the day, if this is a token drop, if it's a companion drop, if it's a companion mint, any of those things, I do think that the time is suitable for Doodles now. I do think that they've crossed that upper echelon. They're kind of next in line to be a blue chip status NFT. They've held their own. And here we are. What do you think that this could mean, if anything?
They're really,
obviously means something, but
they're really promoting mental health with that video there. That guy is laying in fucking bed with his right next to his eyes pop open the minute he gets a notification, middle of the night. This guy should be fucking getting his rest for the next. Pops up notification Friday. Oh, I'm up now. He's probably going to stay up until Friday. Really well done, Doodles. That's in an industry where we need to put our feet in the grass.
not the direction I thought you were going with this.
Guy's leaving the fucking house tomorrow with his battery on 12% because he was sleeping with.
It's not even plugged in.
Well done, Doodles.
Plug that phone in.
Jesus Christ.
So what? You think companion drop? You think token? You think game? What do you think?
Don't know. Maybe they just wanted to make this video.
Could be. Yeah. Friday is exciting regardless. It's Friday.
I can't imagine anyone would want to be in that ecosystem, but at 23 ETH, I guess somebody does. I don't know. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I know you're not the biggest Doodles fan. That's I totally get that. But I don't know, guys in chat. I actually don't even know if chat is working, but let us know what you think in there too. How did your EtherOrcs space go last night? They're dropping the game now. I've seen the results are good. It seems to have gone successfully? ?
Yes, very successful drop. It was quite the spaces last night, learning about some of the nuances of the game. We got some new loot tables, which showed us what kind of items and rare things we would be getting in these loot boxes that we will be acquiring. Shout out to KP, a pretty famous gamer who came on yesterday and basically talked about how now that there is a tactile, movable game that's good for streaming, this is the type of thing that's going to take EtherOrcs to the next level, especially with the whole loot box idea. I mean, loot boxes are such a huge thing in traditional gaming now with things like FIFA and these other games where the loot box is largely what, people love gambling. I think this is the crux of it all is people love mystery boxes. They love opening these things that could have something rare or valuable in it. And that's basically what Dungeon Crawls is. You beat bosses, you get points, you use those points to get treasure chests, and in this treasure chest can be something worth $10 or $10,000, and people like that. And the beta has been live since Friday. It actually went live for real Zug yesterday, and people are loving it. I mean, it's fun. Your orcs have a 24-hour cooldown. All right, so this is important to understand. This is not, because we know how your brain works. And if all of a sudden this thing where you can make money becomes addicting, people could be on this thing 24 hours a day, losing their fucking minds. So there's a 24-hour cooldown after you've played your orc. And everyone has really been giving it rave reviews so far. I mean, I'm very impressed with what they put together.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try it out. Do you have a list of the projects that can partake in it?
The next one slated, I believe, would be Kaiju Kings.
Yep.
And crap, I forgot the other partner right off the bat.
I know. It's they were kind of dripping them out on Twitter. I'll really quickly look it up while we're just kind of jamming out towards the end of the show here.
EtherOrcs, my friend. That would be the EtherOrcs project. You can find it on OpenSea or etherorcs.com. It is a play and own on-chain MMORPG. And they have largely been, they have entirely been a passive game up until this point, and this is an actual tactile moving around game. Ally, right?
Alpacas.
Ally right now is by far your best entry, though the Jennies are on discount. This is a transition period. It is not surprising to me that Zug and the assets have fallen to the price they're at. I do think it's a good buy in this range. Would I be surprised to see Jennies fall to 1 ETH and Allies fall to 0.25? No, but they're pretty much in that buy range right now, especially if you're going to start playing the game. And I think that's how people should really be looking at it. So Allies right now, I think, are 0.35. I'm guessing that's for busted mages. And by busted, I mean the way that you roll a mage into a useful character had a lot more risk this time than the way you did it for ogres and shamans. So a busted mage a busted rogue is a rogue that you cannot level up to an extremely high production. So the allies produce items that you can use, like training dummies, potions, and luck runes. How much they produce is based on how well you roll them when you're giving them their ability to craft. So rogues are very, very risky when you roll them. And if you screw up, you have what's essentially a busted rogue. Those are the ones that you see on the floor. They're actually great for buying to play the game because they're the cheapest and you're not really worried about the production that they're making. So they're actually better players and raiders than they would be for production. Best entry into orcs right now, by far.
You heard it here first. Maybe not first, but...
Yeah, first was an interesting take, but you heard it.
Whatever. Well, you have. We've been talking about Ether orcs since day one.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of have.
Zub.
See, rogues are pretty cheap compared to shamans. Yeah. I think I might need an entry point into orcs soon. I've been sitting on the sidelines. Jealous.
On the side.
Jelly. Alpacadabras was the other collection.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So the alpacas and the kaijus, the first announced partners with them. So yeah, we've got a spaces going on today with Mooney of Squishyverse and Kieran of Alluvium going on at 4 p.m. Eastern today. So that's going to be good. We're doing the play and own spaces. So we're going to be talking to them, picking their brains, and probably be talking about Yuga Labs a little bit too, and what we think their intentions can be and what they should be. But we'll talk about some other stuff too. That's really exciting though. There's those are some big minds in the space. Squishyverse has been killing it in the P2E, or I guess P&O as we're rebranding it to scene. So that's going to be a good conversation. If you're around on Twitter, 4 p.m. Eastern, make sure you come check it out and say hi to us.
Hi.
Hello. All right, let's wrap that up. Hour and 15 minutes here. Nice little show. Nice to have some different things to talk about other than Moonbirds and Yuga, of course. Crypto going on a run is obviously the first topic, although cooling down. Oh, actually, it just took a little bit of a shit. 28.50.
No. I was going to mention we have totally rolled over, completely crashed in March. We are monitoring it right now. I actually just got long the S&P for the first time in a while. I think it's a fake move. We will see how that works out. But boy, everything has rolled over in a big way. Stay tuned. Hold on to your tits. We're going to see what this means tomorrow.
It's going to be a bumpy ride, eh, free market? Yeah. We went into the Elon Twitter purchase and Bored Ape speculation quite a bit. Yuga did some refunds. Gucci continues their adoption of cryptocurrencies, and of course they are pretty good NFT participants as well. We talk about Oddstronauts, the Augmented Labs project that's doing all right now. Great entry point if you're looking at it. Phantom Network was the big topic. The Dutch auction obviously going live and minting out at 2 ETH. The allow list will be going down in about 12 hours, so we'll see what the price action looks like at that point. We also talked about the scam, the 200 ETH scam surrounding a Phantom Network and I guess a Russian shoe trader. And then, of course, finished it off with Doodles and the speculation that something is going down tomorrow. So we're going to be monitoring that as well and see what they come up with. Free market, always a pleasure. We will be chatting throughout the day, no doubt. To everybody that tuned in and listened, we appreciate you, appreciate the support, and we will do it again tomorrow. So on that note, get us out of here.
Pranksy, Peter, watch your fucking backs. I'm coming for you today. Good luck at the tables, degens.